I want to first preface this video by saying where I've been, you know, just a little checkup because obviously my content creation output is zero. For a while, it's been zero. And one of the main excuses I've used was I didn't have the right equipment. And I guess that's understandable for YouTube a little bit because I didn't have a tripod because the one I was using broke. But honestly, I know that one, my school weight room doesn't let me record, but I didn't have to just record workout videos. I could talk about working out. I could, well, next video I want to make is a full day of eating because I'm going on an aggressive cut. So for those of you out there who are also going out on an aggressive cut, that can kind of be, some guideline or even anything helpful, even one thing. That's my goal. I just want to help you guys because I know that when I first started self-improvement, obviously I've had friends who are also on self-improvement and they helped a great deal and I'll always be grateful for them. But when I first started self-improvement, or at least trying, everything seemed confusing because all the guys I looked up to were already so advanced that yes, while they were teaching basic self-improvement habits or anything like that, any type of philosophy, it was still confusing to me because it didn't seem relatable. So the whole point of this channel is because I know that I'm not in a really advanced spot. While I have some things that are above most people, while I'm still trying to get better, I thought might as well try to document it and help others who are just like me right when I first started. And so, to me, that's something that I really want to do. And honestly, my excuses were just because I was scared to start and embarrassed. Because, when you're in high school, kids are judgmental, but that doesn't matter, right? This is something important to me, and that shouldn't even cross my mind because of how important this really is to me. Yes, I'm going to deal with embarrassment. Yes, people are going to make fun of me and judge me until it works. So, and the only way that it can work is by starting, and that's something I haven't been doing. And I've also started a lot of bad habits that I used to do before I started self-improvement, for example, or even while I was on self-improvement, because the whole point of improvement is there's things to fix. And so I'm not trying to say right when I started I was perfect. I was nowhere near perfect. Pretty obvious, but for example, one of them was I was being lazy. These past 2 weeks I've been locked in. Like, I have a good amount of video ideas. I've been writing, I've been cutting, like honestly for this cut, because before, you guys know that I was on a recomp phase for like way too long. I didn't need to be on it. And yeah, but this cut so far, it's only been 2 to 3 weeks now, like an aggressive cut. It's about like a 800 deficit plus designated cardio. So it's a pretty hefty cut, but I've been super consistent, and already I'm demotivated, which is my biggest issue. Not that motivation matters, but that's ultimately what held me back before, which I'm not gonna let happen anymore. Like, I've been eating the same thing every day, which is either half a pound of ground beef or a pound of chicken breast. And it's hard, but it's something that I need because obviously I want to bodybuild, but two, this says something about me, but I want to prove to myself that I can do it, because before I didn't have anything to prove. I had something to prove, but I had nothing to show for it. I was trying to cut, but I never stuck to it. I just couldn't stick to my diet. Training, on the otherwise, I've always been consistent with that. It's never been hard to train. And yes, there are some days where it's been hard, but not been consistently hard like dieting is. As far as training, in the bag, super easy. Dieting so far in this cut has been super good. I've been super consistent. I've been telling myself a lot that this is gonna fucking suck because recomping for that long really messed up my body in terms of how much muscle and fat I've gained together. I'd say I've gained more muscle than fat, but still I've gained fat, which is what I didn't want to do. But honestly, I would say I was right in terms of I wanted to build muscle first. That's what I wanted to do before I cut it, so I wasn't too small. But it's like the longer you bulk or the longer you're in a recomp phase, the more you're holding on to fat, which is gonna take longer to cut. Cut should be one and done. Like should be super fast because it's not good for you to be on a cutting phase for that long, especially for muscle growth and overall just bodily functions. So I'm just getting this cut over with, and I'm voicing this now because it'll kind of hold me accountable, because in the past I've had issues with holding myself accountable. So in this way it kind of it sucks that I have to do this, but it forces me to hold myself accountable, because now whoever watches these videos knows, like, hey, you said you were going to cut, what's going on? If I don't have any progress or prove to show, like, anything to show for it. So there's that. And I guess another bad habit I was doing before self-improvement is excessive scrolling. My screen time was probably in like the 5-hour marks, and I got it down to 2 to 3 hours like average per week, and that's really good. But then it just shot right back up to 5 hours because I told myself I wanted to go to this college, but in all honesty, that was just a subconscious easier way to make money instead of doing what I actually want to do, which is this. So I told myself, I want to go to school while I do this, but I love cars. I wanted to work on cars in college, but I just came to the realization, it took me too long to notice that, but I just came to the realization that I want to do this. If I could do this full time, which I can, I haven't been doing, which I'm trying to now, I can do this full time now. And instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm just waiting to go to college, I'm waiting to get a job, which I have a job now, but I'm waiting to get a job so I can get a tripod, I can get a microphone. Like, I told myself all these excuses, but it's just start. Just start doing something. You're gonna suck either way. Might as well start sucking now so you start sucking later, which is stop sucking later, which is a pause, but whatever. So there's that. And honestly, I think this next phase of my life is just doing the things. I don't need to think any longer. I just need to stop thinking and just start doing. I've been thinking for like 2 years now. This is way too long. You don't even need to think for half a year. I've been thinking for way too long. So now it's just, I need to keep reminding myself, I don't have to think about anything else. I just have to do this. Just cut out everything else. You don't need to think about anything else. You don't need to think about schooling. You don't need to think about your next bulking phase, because this is a really bad habit I have. I stopped, but I used to be like, I can't wait to bulk. I'm gonna look so good on my bulk. But it's like, what about now? Where are you now? I'm still pretty chunky. This cut's going pretty good. I'm already down, I think 5 pounds. Started at 242. That was pretty much my wake-up call. Shouldn't have been, but it was, so can't make any excuses with that. Yeah, my wake-up call was that I was 242 pounds. I wasn't like that fat. I was pretty fat, but 242 pounds, I was pretty muscular. Like, I could still see striations on my chest. I can see striations on my shoulders now, which is good. Just a way to gauge myself. I never really cared about the weight. I just cared about the fat percentages. But I think there's a limit, Well, obviously, because just take a look, but you can only gain so much muscle, especially at a younger age. So at what point do you say, okay, I'm not even gaining muscle anymore, I'm just gaining fat and weight, which was what I was doing. I was recomping, so it was just all bad. But these last 3 weeks have been really good. I've been super consistent. Like, the only negative thing I have to say is just my mental fortitude is a bit weaker because I have another responsibility now, which I was trying to limit, but I'm okay with adding more as long as it's purposeful and it's a good reason. And the extra responsibility I have now is a job, but it doesn't take any real mental, the only thing it does is makes me tired after. But mentally I'm still pretty keen. The only thing that sucks is just that taking up time, but I'd rather have my job taking up that time versus me doing nothing. And those 4 or 8 hours, whatever I'm scheduled for. And that way I'm making money. Now I have a tripod, which I didn't need to record this video. It just kind of sucks that I waited, but you know, I'm not going to dwell on the past, and I'm just going to keep moving forward and keep my head down and just go. That's all I want to do now. I don't want to keep thinking, like, just holding myself back. That's all I was doing, just by thinking. Once you think like, okay, here's what I want to do, bam, 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 just do it. It's like there's no more. Once you figure out what you want to do and how to do it, you just have to do it. There's no thinking. It's like I just kept thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, which added more stress to myself, which was really bad. As far as goals and how I want to move forward, I've already been moving forward from what I'm talking about, but I'll just give you guys the rundown. So the goals wise is I want to cut down to around, like, I'd say pretty lean, like 14 to 12% body fat. So visible abs, all that shit. I don't care about the weight at that point. I just want to be that lean. Obviously, I'm still going to try to retain as much muscle as I can, because that's something important to me and that's what I want to do. But being 14 to 12% body fat, for someone like me who's never seen my own abs, I'm starting to now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, for someone like me who's never seen their abs, it's like it's going to be pretty cool to see that. And especially bicep veins, you know. I don't have super vascular forearms right now, but I can see like veins coming out now. I did before, but like now they're popping out, which is insane for me. The next goal really is just to stay consistent. Stop thinking, essentially, is what I mean by that. Because the more I thought, the less consistent I was. And you know, that's probably a common issue for most people, is that they just keep thinking and thinking, like, okay, once I do this, then I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this, and this, and this. But it's like, how about what you're doing now? What's the next step you need to take? Have you done that? No, you haven't. So let's focus on that first. You know, once you plan out everything you want, you just have to do it. That's all I want to do now, and that's all I want you guys to do after you've had a routine, you've got your plans in place. Like, the routine should revolve around your purpose and your goals. And my purpose with bodybuilding and content creation as a whole is to set a new standard of, one, for bodybuilding, how big a natural person can get. Like, I want to set a new world record for being the biggest person on stage naturally. I don't want to take any steroids at all, not even in the future. I want to stay natural, and I want to get as big as I can while competing. So it's a pretty hefty thing, but it's like, if I'm doing something that crazy, why am I not taking it serious in terms of actions? Which I wasn't, but now I am. Just a little train of thought. And in terms of content creation, I want to inspire you guys to push yourselves and notice that you aren't alone in this. There's people like you out there who are struggling with the exact same things you are. And what's important to me is, you know, having someone there, knowing that, like, in your mind, you're like, hey, he's doing this, exactly what I want to do, and he's going through the same struggles. This is how he got out of it. That's what I want, because for the struggles I was going through, I had nowhere to see, like actually see how they got out of it. Like, I would obviously get advice from people and from podcasts and from all that, but nothing clicked until I saw it. And I still see myself having issues there, but it's just more so just do it now. That's the best advice I can give for that. And if you guys are more visual, like, you guys need to see what's going on, that's why I have this channel, is I want it to be, you know, pretty personal. All the struggles I'm going through, everything, I want it to be personal, because for me, at least, the way I can see someone's struggle is by, like, literally seeing it personally, person to person. And so that's the main reason why I started this YouTube channel. And let's get on to the actual video now. Okay, for this next part of the video, I want it to be of how you guys can build a routine and start or get back to self-improvement or whatever. Just, I want this video to be a routine that you guys can use, or not a routine you can use, but how you can build a routine that you can use to hit your goals. So first, I am going to be reading off a script as well, because it helps me get the exact words out that I want. First and foremost, the first thing you obviously have to do is make goals for yourself. Find your purpose in life. What what's passion about you? Think back to what you did as a kid. All I did as a kid was play video games. But trying new things is also a way to find your purpose. Doing things until something clicks. It doesn't have to click right away. It might take a long time. It could take a really long time. For me, bodybuilding clicked instantly, and I used to edit anime, and so put those two together, I can be a content creator who bodybuilds and makes pretty cool edits, or tries to make pretty cool edits for his YouTube. And so, as far as finding a purpose, make sure it matters to you. Make sure it genuinely matters to you. If video games matter to you, become a streamer or a pro. I forgot what they're called. A pro esports player. Those guys are still disciplined. Like, don't take it for granted that, just because they play video games, they're lazy. No, it's hard. Who wants to play a video game for 12 hours a day every day? Like, you think that sounds cool, but it sucks. Those guys are disciplined. When you find the thing, when something clicks and you're like, okay, I really want to do this, cut everything else out. Only do that one thing. No more thinking. Obviously make goals, but when you're no more thinking, just you need to do. When you're done doing, which you will never do, but when you're done doing, you need to think, okay, what's the next steps? Essentially, is just building a staircase that you're walking up continuously at the same time while you're building. You're creating the next step for yourself and then taking it. You're not creating 5 steps for yourself, then taking the next step and another 5. Essentially, that's what I was doing, and so don't do that. I want you guys to put in the next brick, take a step, next brick, step, or even 2, and then take 1, 2, and then take 1. Anything like that. You don't want to have too much on your plate and then only be going up so much, and then you're putting more. Essentially, that's the best way I can kind of put it. So the ways you can do that after you've made your goals or you found your purpose, build a routine around it. I would call this a purpose-focused routine. I don't want it to sound confusing, but it's as simple as it sounds. One of the ways you can start after you've found your purpose or your goals is to create a routine built around it. It's as simple as it sounds. It's just a purpose-focused routine. And in terms of, to extrapolate on that, it's just, I'll break it down to the exact definitions. It's just actions that help you take another step forward to your next goal or to hit your goal. Anything that helps hit your goal you want to be doing. And obviously you're going to have to factor in non-negotiable things like school. If you're, if you're a senior in high school or below, you're going to need to factor that into your routine. Have that Google Calendar. Put the school hours in your calendar. And if you're like me and your parents or your family is really unpredictable and you have a lot going on with just them, you can't really give a set time where they're going to ask you to do this or that, which is just like me. I personally don't have set times I need to do something because I know that my day changes based on my family. So what I do is have a list of things I should or want or need to get done, and I get those done throughout my day whenever I can, as soon as I can. While having planned out things works really well, which you should be doing, and I hope to do when I have my own place or I don't have to live with unpredictable people, is to just don't have a set time for anything. Just do it throughout your day, have almost a list, and check them off one by one. It's honestly really satisfying to do that. Okay, I got this, and now I just have to do it tomorrow. But one thing I want to preface is, if you're going to build a routine, start with one thing at a time. So let's say you're in school like me, and you want to start sleeping 8 hours. Okay, how many hours do you sleep now on average? Probably, let's say 3 hours. I'm guessing most people don't sleep that long. Let's say you want to start to get 8 hours. What you can do is try to get 5 hours consistently. Try to sleep 5 hours every day consistently until it's like a routine habit. Then just bump it up to 8. Or you can go straight from 3 to 8 or whatever other number, straight to 8, and try to keep that as consistent as you can. Now you're 1% better than you were before you started. Then you can add on the next task and keep it consistent. Then you can add the next. It's all about starting a strong base or building a strong base for yourself in your routine, so everything feels normal. Everything feels, you'd feel weird if you didn't do it, which is how I feel now. And in terms of planning out videos, which I have a good amount and I just need to start doing, but when I don't do the normal stuff I do, well, normal stuff to you guys, but it feels weird. It feels like I'm lazy, which obviously I am, but it feels weird, out of place, like it's just uncomfortable. Make it uncomfortable not to do the work. That's probably one of the best strategies you can do in terms of building routine. Now, if you look at it over a span of 6 months, you're like, okay, well now I'm sleeping 8 hours. Now I'm reading 30 minutes a day. I'm going on these walks. I'm eating consistently, everything I need to eat. And I've built this up only over 6 months, and I'm just that much better in 6 months. And take it over a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're gonna be so much better. You're gonna hit all your goals. Just make sure consistency is something you can uphold in your routine. Maybe you can do 2 tasks. You can add your whole routine and stay consistent with that. I doubt it, but I mean, go for it, Just make sure you can stay consistent. Otherwise, you're going to fall off and you're never going to have a consistent line of growth, which is what I was at. And now I'm starting to actually have a straight line of growth in terms of consistency. It doesn't matter if the graph line is very little slanted or insanely slanted. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're going in a positive direction. Now, once you're pretty set in your routine, then you can look at things to help make you grow faster, which is the beautiful part about it. You're always going to be improving no matter what. Then you can worry about how much you're improving. Another thing I want to say is just don't BS yourself. Don't make excuses like I did. Just do it and cut out everything that'll stop you. Everything. If, let's say, video games isn't something you want to do, don't do it. Or just any distractions that's going to stop you from hitting your goals, get rid of it as fast as you can. It doesn't matter if let's say you want to stop scrolling on your phone. Okay, be like, I do this on average for 10 hours a day. I know that's probably most people's average. You can even do this. Instead of scrolling on Instagram for 10 hours a day, you can listen to a podcast that'll add your screen up time to 10 hours. Or you can actively lessen that by saying, okay, if my average is 10 hours, tomorrow I'm just going to try to do 9 hours. And then the next day I'm going to do 9 hours again until that's normal. And then now I'm already that much better. I've been doing 9 hours of phone time for this amount of time, way longer. And then you could just lessen and lessen and lessen until it's where you want it to be. Obviously, you don't have to go that slow. You can go pretty fast if you push yourself. In order to move forward from what you've been doing, you have to accept it. You can verbally say this to yourself or think this, what has happened has happened. I'm just going to move forward and just keep on growing and trying to better myself, and I'm not going to dwell on the past. That's something I've been saying to myself very recently, and it's working. It's just a big change of mindset. One thing I want you guys to take into account is saying, being able to accept the past, say, yes, I did this in the past, but that only means I can be better. So instead of saying, oh, I did this in the past, I'm such a horrible person, you can just say, I can be better. I can do better. And, instead of being, oh, I ate this today, but I can eat this today. Instead of saying, I have to do this or I need to get this done, just say, I want to get this done. I can get this done. I'm allowed to because I have free will. I can do it. That's the beauty of it, is that you get to do these things. You get to be better. You get to improve yourself. You get to do your purpose in life. That's beautiful. And that's something I want you guys to feel as I do. As far as finding your purpose, because I know I mentioned that towards the beginning of the second part of the video, take your time. Yes, try new things, but take your time. Give it time. It's gonna suck when you're trying new things out. But once you're like, oh, I actually really like this, it's amazing because now you like something and you get to do it for the rest of your life. Or for example, bodybuilding, I can do that for a while. It's a sustainable career if you just put your mind to it. And same thing with content creation. Yes, the bodybuilding content creation, like, I don't know what call it, market is super oversaturated right now, but that means I get to be authentic. I get to set a new standard. That's amazing. Like, you get to build that name for yourself as a man specifically. I can't speak for women, but this is just a generalization of it. And I want you guys to genuinely care about finding your purpose. Don't be like, okay, this guy said I should find my purpose, so I'm going to do it. No, be like, I want to find something to do. I want something to click. Have a fortified reason for finding your purpose. Cutting out all BS is really simple. It's just a matter of having a strong purpose, because when you have a strong purpose, you're like, no, I don't care about anything else. I just want to focus on this. That's what I mean by having a strong purpose. And as far as bad habits, just focus on replacing those with good habits. It's like if we were to take a Google Sheet and literally pan it out, and so you have scrolling, excessive eating, sleeping for way more than you need to. Okay, what we could do is, instead of scrolling for this amount of time, I'm going to do this. Or instead of being lazy, I'm going to read. I'm going to do something that helps me get closer to my goal. Make sure and when I say good habits, I mean habits that help you reach your goals. Good habits doesn't mean whatever someone else says. It means what matters to you and how it's going to help you get there. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I want you guys to take this as not a wake-up call. You can, but I want you guys to understand that you guys aren't alone, and there's people out there like you, whether you can see them or not. There's people out there like you with the same struggles, and they feel the same way you do. They feel the struggle just like you. They act just like you. They mess up just like you. And you're not alone. Thank you for watching my video.